So let's talk about Demar Derozan on the San Antonio Spurs. It's going pretty okay so far. The team has a positive record, and there were a lot of people, including me, who looked at the roster with a little bit of a side eye, but it seems up to right now it is going well. And I thought there were going to be a lot more plays like these for Derozan, where he gets a handoff from Gasol that leads into a pick and roll with LaMarcus Aldridge. And these have actually not really been the heart of what has allowed Derozan to be so good early on, but I figured I'd highlight them anyway because they've happened like sporadically enough to where I think as the year goes on, we could get more plays like that one there where Aldridge set an off-ball screen for Derozan, or here where he just cuts to the basket. But when you really dive into what Derozan's been doing well for them, well, his game has not really changed that much, and I think that goes to Greg Popovich just being really smart and not wanting to change Derozan too much as a player. His isolations are actually a little up this season. He was isoing about 3 times a game last year for the Raptors. This year he's up to 4.5 isolations. And I think one of the reasons that's going well is because he's never really played with a big man like LaMarcus Aldridge. I think we all remember those lineups the Raptors would have with Jonas Valanciunas and Ibaka, where sometimes the spacing would be really rough. Whereas when Aldridge is playing center, the floor is pretty open, and as a result, Derozan just has a whole lot of room to operate. There were questions about this Spurs team's three-point shooting going into this season, but when you actually watch them out there, like sure, they're not loaded with guys who are known for knocking down threes, but at the same time, between like Rudy Gay, who's not bad, Patty Mills, who's pretty decent, Bryn Forbes has been a nice guy for them after DeJounte's injury, and then again, playing LaMarcus Aldridge at center, it's just enough to where the defense can't really swarm on Derozan. Should also give some credit to Davis Bertans as well. So it's like a perfect situation for him, right? He can still be himself. He can still do his ISOs and his 2 pump fakes into mid-range jumpers and all those contested shots that he loves, and he can post up and everything, and there's nobody in his way, so it's way more efficient offense than it was sometimes for the Raptors. But it's not just isolations with Derozan. The Spurs are also using him for about 9 pick and rolls a game, as he is among the best pick and roll ball handlers in the league, as he is currently in the 85th percentile in that category. You may notice that LaMarcus Aldridge is setting a lot of these screens. If we can go back to LA and his impact, well, as we know, on top of being a great mid-range shooter, Aldridge is one of the best post-up players in the league. One of the few who it's actually still efficient to throw the ball down to, right? Well, I think because he's such a good post player, defenses don't want to switch this pick and roll. It seems that their strategy is to have the big back up to give the primary ball handler or primary defender enough time to get back to Derozan, because if you switch it, Aldridge is just going to kill you in the post, right? Well, unfortunately for defenses, this was the shot that he's built most of his career on, so if you want to give him this little 15-foot jump shot or whatever, I mean, he's gladly going to take it. And again, a big reason he's getting those is because of LA. Kudos to LaMarcus Aldridge. And I think that was one thing we all needed to be reminded of is, yeah, is this the Spurs team of last year? No. They had a decent amount of losses. Danny Green, Tony Parker, Manu, and others. But when you have 2 guys this good, things are still going to happen for you. And now I want to use the rest of this video to talk about Derozan's passing. The dude is having the best playmaking season of his career. His assists are up to 7 a game right now, and not all of these are just from that 14 assist game he had against the Lakers. He's actually done it throughout the season so far. We should have seen this coming because last season for Toronto he got up to around 5 assists a game. It just seems like his vision has gone to a different level. And a big thing with Derozan is he's one of the best players in the league at not turning the ball over. His turnover percentage is only 9%, whereas his assist percentage is now over 30. And I think this is happening for a few reasons. He's just better. His vision is a little better. It seems like his handle gets a little bit better every season. But I think you have to give a lot of credit to the Spurs as well. The spacing problems mentioned earlier with the Raptors for a few years, not really a thing here. And also, while I think the San Antonio offense has become a little less creative as certain players have filtered out over the years, they do still have some foundations in place, right? So the offense never sticks for too long, whether it's going to be like someone cutting to the basket or an extra screen being set if the initial action didn't work, or just, again, the floor being spaced at all times. It's just enough for it all to work out. And I think this is also huge because after the Spurs lost to DeJounte Murray, you're looking for somebody who can make some plays for other guys. And sure, DeJounte wasn't great in that area, but they still asked him to carry the ball and run the offense at least a moderate amount of the time. And it seems that DeRozan is making up for all that. And they lost Tony Parker. We got to remember that one. And to have a ball handler who can efficiently make plays for himself and others, that's a pretty big deal. So it's going well. It seems DeMar DeRozan has improved. It seems he is ready for taking on the challenge. And it helps that he's got a great coach, a great team around him. Yeah, it's going pretty okay.